Hello, we're on another walkie talkie. It's gone very cold again. It's very icy and slippery out here, so I'll have to try to take care. Anyway, yeah, it's surprising really because we had quite a lot of cloud cover yesterday and it wasn't too cold in the past few days. But this morning it's very cold again. Anyway, let's crack on, eh? Whew. So, yeah, this is weird. Got to be a bit careful because it has been raining and it's frozen. Excuse me. Yeah, it's frozen, so got to be a bit careful because like I say, it had been raining yesterday, so if there's been any water which hasn't cleared, it's going to present itself as an interesting little problem for walking around, but we'll see. This bit's all right so far, but I'm thinking of how flooded or how much water, surface water, ended up on the path. But yeah, it's bitterly cold. Bitterly cold. Aye, aye. I haven't starting to struggle again a bit for things to talk about. Certainly on the gaming front. Yeah, it's just not a lot going on. Oh, well, at least there's no standing water here. That's a good thing. I got home yesterday again just in time. It started to rain. So, this is all right. As I was bothered that there might be some standing water here on the path, but it's all right. There's no wind, but there's no wind chill, but it is very biting. It's that one that chills you to the bone. I can't wait for things to just... I don't like it dead hot, but a bit warmer than this. Hang on, this looks like it might be a bit slippy here. Oh, we're all right. We're all right. So yeah, halfway through the week already. Oh, halfway through January, well, over halfway. Well, no, not quite yet. Getting close to halfway through Jan. Oh. And a Silent Hill F game apparently is due to arrive on Friday. It's been dispatched from Amazon already, so that's coming earlier than I thought, about 3 weeks earlier than I thought. So again, it just shows sometimes it's worth just being that little bit patient to beat the scalpers. Now, if they could do that with the Jaws 50th anniversary 4K Blu-ray, that would be wonderful. But that seems to be very hard to get. I suspect that Warner only did a limited run, and that's the problem. Anyway, I'll call it there. And I'll see you good folks in the park. So, I've been playing more of Ace Combat. I did check. And I've hit this point in the game, and it's quite early on in the game, and it kind of reminds me why this type of game is frustrating, where you have to protect this aircraft. I think I'm only on mission 4. And I keep failing it because the aircraft keeps getting shot down. But I'm literally like outnumbered by about 30 to 1. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to do this bit. There'd be a way of doing it, but I haven't got a damn clue what I'm doing. But it's really annoying me. I don't know why they put these I hate babysitting missions in video games, and it's especially frustrating in a sort of air combat type game, because you can't really control what you're doing, you know, like what they're doing. So it's proving to be a little bit frustrating at the moment. I guess I'll have to make sure I've got the right loadout or whatever. Oh God, what are they messing about with? I don't know how you can use gardening tools when it's this frozen, to be honest. I really don't. I would have thought that it would have be damaging to the actual tools themselves. I don't know. People are truly strange. Anyhow, yeah. It seems quite quiet at the moment, actually. Maybe the cold is putting people off. It is. I mean, I'm noticing it with these, even with these boots on. It's quite slippery underfoot. Well, my War of the Worlds book arrived yesterday. It's got the Enrique Correa, I think I've got it right, illustrations in it, which are very good. But I must say, the book itself, it's a paperback, and the quality of the card they've used on the paperback, on the actual cover itself, isn't especially great. But then it's not come from a major publishing house, so I wonder if it's one of these things that print to order. Mind you, it did come quite quick, but yeah, the book itself is fine. It's well laid out, the illustrations are nice. The book itself is quite big. Not huge, but it's bigger than your normal size paperback, to accommodate the the illustrations so you can actually see them properly. One of the things I was a little concerned about after I ordered it, because I should have checked, but I thought if this is quite small, this book is quite small, and it's going to be difficult to properly see the illustrations and pick out the details in the illustrations. That's what I like to look at. You look at these pictures for some time and you can see all the little details that they put in. It's a good thing doing that. With the original album vinyl that came out in the 70s, I've got that, and that came with quite a large booklet, sort of a vinyl LP sized booklet that had some amazing artwork in, and that Jeff Wayne had commissioned a number of artists to do the artwork in there, and it was stunning artwork. Very scary looking tripods. I think they're amongst the best representations. In some parts there's a lot of license taken. For example, the heat ray isn't carried by, above the machine on like a camera projector. It's not. It's like a funnel type gun looking thing that's kept. That looks like it, is down at the front of the fight machine. It kind of looks better, really, but it's the luminous, like big green bug-like eyes that it's got. Really does give it an otherworldly appearance, and remember that being quite not scary, but intimidating. When you're a kid, imagine that thing striking terror. The ones from sort of 1898, I think they are, that's in this book, they look weird. They do look like boilers on stilts, which is from the description that somebody gives in the book, but they kind of have these eyes that give them a weird mechanical lifelike appearance, and it'd be quite easy to dismiss it by today's standards as being quite funny looking, but because I think he went for almost a literal translation of what was described in the book. But back then, that would have been quite scary. We take giant mechanisms for granted today. Huge cranes and vehicles rumbling along, them big quarry trucks where the wheel is about the size of two people stood on each other's shoulders. Those things don't surprise us. Large mechanisms like that, they're part of our everyday life. Trucks and double-decker buses and all that kind of thing. Huge skyscrapers. We're used to big things like that. But back in Victorian England, they wouldn't have been. Yeah, they had some big buildings. They didn't have skyscrapers. They didn't have these mega structures that we've got today. So, the sort of impact of those, that original artwork is somewhat diminished by today's standards. But if you were to look at that artwork and think of it set in the period, or put yourself in the mind of somebody from that period, that would have been quite terrifying, because there weren't many things at all that were that big. There certainly weren't any big mechanisms going around at the time. You know, steam engines were the big thing, and they were very, very rare. You know, were used mainly on construction things that most people wouldn't have even seen. That crow. So, yeah, it was kind of the sort of, not the birth of the industrial age, but, you know, it was kind of, you know, big autonomous things like that were only just starting to come into existence. I mean, look at the Titanic in 1912, and that was considered a huge ship. And when they show that compared to an ocean-going liner today, it's small. You know, when you look at the size comparison, it's small. So, you know, like I say, it's interesting. But yeah, it's a good book. Just to wish the cover was a bit more robust. I know it wasn't a hardback edition, but I just wish it was a little bit more robust. I think if I just stack it between a couple of other books, it'll probably keep it sort of nice and straight. But at the moment, while I've been sort of reading through it, it's been a little bit how can we say, a little bit bent, a little bit bendy. It might be the heat as well, because it was out for delivery in the cold. It might be a bit of the heat too, but it'll be all right. It wasn't hugely expensive. Anyway, so that's kind of the last couple of days for me, really. Does this dude just time it for every time I walk past? Because he's just fired that up twice now as I've been walking past. I'm actually looking to see. Oh yeah, there he is. I don't know what he's doing. There's not a lot of gardening you can do because the ground's frozen. So maybe he's just getting out of the house. Oh. Oh dear. What to talk about? I say, nothing really on the games front. I'm still waiting for some of these indie games I want to play to come out of early access. As I've said in a previous video, I've gone off the idea of getting stuff in early access, really, because if you play it to death before the game even comes out, when the full version of it comes out, it's like, oh, I've already played it. And I say I've had a few examples where there's not been much additional content, if any, in the full version of the game. And so it's been like, yeah, it's come out and I've been like, well, pretty much played it all, seen all it's got to give. So you just end up leaving it. There's it, doggo. What are you up to? Hey, what are you up to? Having a good run. That's what he's up to, I think. Stretch those legs. God, I wish I had that energy. Bloody hell. I've had energy like that for years. Oh. So, yeah, I've got quite a few games I need to get on with. I know that much. It's just like, the thing with doing these videos is I get in, do the videos, edit them, upload them, and then it's usually around lunchtime by the time I'm done with that. And yeah, you know, that's it, basically. It's like, I don't really feel in the mindset then to start making more videos. And it's just like trying to find something to do with the rest of the day. You know, and you play the odd game here and there. And that's it. So I've just not got a lot going on really with games news. There isn't anything. I think we're going into a bit of a lull period. Oh yeah, just apart from the usual stuff, like Ubisoft laying off people. That doesn't really surprise me. I think there'll be a lot more of that going on. I think as I've said before, I think AAA mainstream gaming is going to go into full shutdown. Well, not full shutdown. That's not what I mean. I mean downsizing it. It's not sustainable. I've covered that before. I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, it just doesn't surprise me to see more layoffs. I think there'll be a lot more to come. I think if I was a game developer these days, I would be more inclined to make my own game and to steer away from a major studio, because even if you were working on a game there, they're shutting them down. They're shutting down games. They're shutting down projects. The brain trusts that run these companies, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're scrambling around in the dirt, but they don't have a clue what they're doing. This is what happens when you become beholden to investors, when they become your masters. Unfortunately, you lose control, and they certainly don't have a damn clue what they're doing either. They wouldn't know a video game if it fell off a shelf and hit them on the head. You know, they read a book, or even if they do that much, these companies are, you know, the people that supposedly run these companies are actually beholden to the investors, and investors that, well, they haven't got a clue about video games. They think that they can transfer their ideas. Well, I invested in a drinks company or a food company or whatever. We were really successful and had a high return from there, so we'll do that in the creative arts industry. No, they're not the same. One's manufacturing, the other is creative arts. It's not a sausage factory, and that's what they're trying to turn it into, which is why you get so many games that are just dull, because that's what they're trying to turn it into. There's no creativity in a manufacturing process. It's just do this, rinse and repeat. But in entertainment, that gets boring. And after so long, people just stop buying it. What's the point? You know, people will just keep playing the old stuff. And quite often the old stuff is better. So there, that's why the AAA is dying a death. Because for years it's just served up the same thing. And now people aren't buying it anymore because it's rubbish. It's just the same stuff over and over again. And the quality is diminishing. I mean, dear God, I mean, playing FC 26, it's got to be one of the worst FIFA games I've ever played. And, you know, it's janky, it's low quality, it's glitchy, you know. It's an absolute bloody shambles. It's an absolute shambles of a game. And they're not fixed. Many of the major issues with it are still present. I mean, visual glitches as well. I mean, dear God. The number of times, I mean, like I say, the great one now is when you score a goal and the camera hovers above the halfway line. What's it doing? You know? Utter crap. It's such a crap product. And it's supposed to be, you know, a AAA release. It's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. But that's what you get. And it's because of the fact that they've been pushed into being like this sausage factory. Oh, we'll just churn out game after game after game after game after game. Just keep churning the same rubbish out year in and year out with reduced quality each time. And eventually people will stop buying it. I say FC 26 is just simply one of the worst of the FIFA line of games that I've played. I just can't get into it. I just think it's dreadful, poorly put together and glitchy. You know, these teams missing out of major leagues, like, you know, in Serie A, these leagues are missing. It's not the biggest of the FIFA releases. It's not exactly comprehensive, shall we say. It's just pretty much cobbled together and then charge premium price for it. Well, that won't be happening again. No chance. What they rely on, you see, is they rely on Ultimate Team. They rely on that. But it's garbage. It's boring. For me, anyway, Ultimate Team is just boring. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing over and over again. I don't play it. But I think that's what they rely on, is people investing in that. But when your game itself is pretty janky, who wants to continue to spend more money on it? Why would you want to do that? I got a new one now, another celebration issue when players score. I mean, the celebrations have always been pretty poor, to be honest with you. You think they'd get that right. I mean, here's a couple of issues. Goalkeepers, when they do a save, celebrate like they've just scored a goal in the World Cup final. I mean, that just doesn't happen. They might get a little interaction with the defenders, but they're jumping up in the air. It just looks ridiculous. It's like, God. And then now, another one, when you just after you score before the replay, another common issue is the players will run into the back of the goal, keep running up against the net, until the game breaks itself, and they then glitch through the net, clip through it, and then just sort of like get all messed up and confused as to what they're supposed to be doing. And then the camera then reverts to the floating above the halfway line while the game tries to think about what it's supposed to be doing. And then, yeah, it'll then show the replay. And you're just like, my God, like, just how rubbish is this? Why is it that is an issue in a game in 2025? But these games from the 90s that were far better, they didn't have that issue. It's an absolute joke. It really is. Absolutely pathetic. And they want to charge you premium price for it. But it's got all of the attributes and glitches of a early access game. So, see, the thing is, we need competition. Pro Evo's dead, but you need competition. Because that's what stimulates quality. Anyway, enough talking about that. Where we're at. Some of these games are dreadful. But I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I'm bringing that up as an example of what happens with the sausage factory mentality. You know, eventually the quality does diminish, and you're just left with something that is very much a pile of rubbish. Anyway. Yeah. I've not really got a lot else to say, to be honest. Again, it's just going to be random talk, random waffle. I don't really have much to comment on. I say it's about the only newsworthy thing that I've seen. Hopefully, you know, something will come along as the day progresses, and I might actually have something interesting to say tomorrow. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath, to be honest. I think in terms of content on the channel, I'm going to have to diversify a bit. That's all there is to it. I mean, doing these, if I was doing these like once a week, it'd probably be a lot easier, but once a day, it's not possible. There's not enough going on. You know, certainly with regards to avoiding retreading old ground, which is exactly what I'm doing. You know, I'm just going over points I've already made in previous videos. And I, you know, appreciate that's a bit boring. There's only so often you can do that. So God alone knows what. I'll have to start watching some TV shows and movies again, aren't I? Go over some of the classic ones, I think. Have a chat about them. I do have like my Evil Dead chat that I want to do. And I do have my Indiana Jones chat that I want to do. So I've got a couple of things like that, but I think with regards to games, it's pretty dull, I have to say. Pretty dull. I say I can talk about games that I've played that are really, really good. But, you know, I can do that. But gaming news, I don't want to just be the channel that is just regurgitating negative stuff all the time. You know, that's all there is in gaming news at the moment, it seems. Layoffs and, you know, the spectre of the next generation of games consoles not being affordable to the average person. So it will become a luxury item for the wealthy. You know, wonderful things that really put you in a good frame of mind, you know what I mean? And I want to steer away from that and avoid that if possible, because it's a trap you can fall into, and that's not what I want to do. I love playing games. So I think those are the genuinely the only ones available. I know the weird thing is when you talk about the negative stuff, ironically it gets more views. When you talk about the positives, it gets less, you know, by and large. So it's like a vicious circle, but I'm not in this to make money, so I suppose one could argue views are somewhat inconsequential from that side. I mean, you want to have views. You want to feel that what you're doing is worthwhile. But I don't want to compromise what I started this channel out to be many, many years ago. It's not a money-making thing, so, you know, this thing has cost me money. It's never made me any money. And so, you know, looking at it from that perspective, sticking to what I want to do and the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Sticking with what I want to do, and then sort of sticking with the themes of what I want to do. That's more important, because there are many channels out there that are just going to pick up on the negative stuff and run with it, and they have a bigger audience. So you're only ever going to be feeding like from scraps on the table with that anyway. It's just, you just become a facsimile then of the bigger channels, in the hope that you can get some views from them sort of cast down, or cast off, shall we say. And I don't particularly want to do that. So, but it's, you know, probably mean shorter videos, I would imagine. It's hard to talk at length about individual games that you're playing. You know, doing a deep dive on Air Combat, for example. How do I do that? You know, I've only just started to play it, really. I'm not going to sit here and start talking about chapter and verse about graphics engines and all that kind of stuff because I don't have the knowledge base for it. You know, all it's going to be is, do I like this, yes or no? You know? So, as I say, I'm not doing Wikipedia with these videos. I'm not going to sit here and go, this game used this engine and was published in this year and sold this many units, because that's absolutely useless for me, because I don't care. I don't think that when I'm playing the game. You know, I mean, all right, maybe the year, if you're talking about, you know, a vintage game, because you want to put it into the context of when you first started playing it, how it made you feel, and so on and so forth. But with the rest of it, no, not really. Pretty pointless. It doesn't serve anything. Pigeon. Doesn't serve anything at all. And like I say, you know, sort of contextually speaking, it's important. But you know, if you're talking about a game that you've started to play for the first time, even if it is an older game, well, then it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's not stimulating a memory from a certain point in time if you're experiencing it for the first time now, or if you're playing, you know, a retro style game that's only just been made. It's stimulating memories maybe of an older game if it's similar to that, but I don't know, I'm just rambling. I kind of know what I'm trying to say, just not doing a particularly great job in terms of saying it. Yeah. Yeah, I set the screen on this bloody thing to sort of I'll go off after 10 minutes, so I'm not wasting too much battery, and I'm sure it just ignores me and goes off every 5. But anyway, I will walk round and go back round to the left and call it a day. It's got to be coming up in total, I reckon, for nearly probably about 45 minutes. Not really said much, but yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. Because I'm tired of just doing Walkie Talkie titles that just say random chat. I mean, this is going to be another one. Random chat, boring. I think I might just title this like content going forward or something, I don't know. Because this, you know, it is random because it's just these thoughts are popping into my head like spontaneously. This is not planned. Like I say, you know, I do try to have a look on sort of gaming social media to see if there's any big stuff that's happened overnight or anything like that, and 99 times out of 100 nothing has at the moment, except, like I say, redundancies, and that's just half of the course, isn't it, these days? Well, it always has been, it's just more visible now because game companies are employing more people, so there's more people to lay off, and it has a bigger impact. Whereas in the past, you know, companies weren't really needing to lay a lot of people off because they had smaller teams, smaller overheads. You know, if you've got half a dozen people working on a game, when that game's done, they then go and work on the next one. But when you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, God, in some cases you think, is it in the thousands even, working on a game. When that project comes to an end, you can't really keep all them people for the next game, because a lot of people are, they might specialise in certain areas that a particular game requires. So, when that game's out, it's out, isn't it? It's done. So unless you're doing a very similar game as the next one, then there's no need to keep them, because they'd just be sat around doing nothing. So anyway, it's just the nature of it. But like I say, if I was a game dev, I would be looking at certainly doing my own thing, being the master of my own destiny with it, rather than doing what they're doing at the moment, which is working their asses off. Project comes to an end and then that's it for them. So, yeah. Oh yeah. I think we'll call it there, to be honest. Yeah, I think we will. Nothing else to talk about. So, yeah, take care, everyone. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.